Good day everyone, welcome to the webinar. Thanks for joining for the session Unifying API and User Experience for Television, Media and Entertainment with Google Apigee and Anthos. This is technical webinar with short introduction why it's important for the business. My name is Iurii. I'm Solution Architect and Apigee Practice Lead within SoftServe. I would like to give you guys some background for this webinar. Nowadays, customers interact with the company's service and content on different platforms and devices, and they want to have a consistent experience. Enterprises with a unified API via API management are several times more likely than their competitors to succeed in delivering consistent customer experience across multiple touchpoints, as API management enables customers to provide secure access to their services with well-defined API that is consistent across all of the services. However, this may be difficult if you depend on some particular system and environment. So it becomes a common practice to adopt multi-cloud strategy while maintaining on-prem infrastructure. In this session, we will provide an overview on how Apigee API management and Anthos multi-cloud platform enables the release vision, unified API and consistent user experience in multi-cloud and hybrid environments. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm certified Google Apigee and Cloud Architect with 10 years of professional experience in IT. I am working close to B2C and B2B clients, building successful story of delivery and consultancy. We will talk about such successful story today. It's exciting that you could learn about real-world case related to the unified API and user experience with Google Apigee. So I'm going to kick off this session. We will start with the business benefit and explain how those benefits are achieved with the unified APIs. Let's answer the first question. What does consistent user experience and unified API help with? It allows to build direct road to increase revenue and enables growing business number of teams and number of APIs created by those teams. It allows to add focus on the fast integration. By the way, it's a big challenge dealing with the brand expansion over the time. It's where unified API helps. We will discuss it later, alongside with reducing maintenance costs. Now I suggest to answer the question why unified API and user experience is important. Nowadays, customers don't care if you have a website or an application or both. They care about getting what they need, when they need, with less efforts. They expect to consume products and services in the way they find convenient, whether that via web, mobile app, connected home device, or any other numerous new devices working through the market. They expect to start watching their favorite show on TV and pick up the show where they left on the mobile device. To deliver the constantly evolving and highly unified experience, businesses need their digital assets to be flexible, able to mix and match to build new products and services. This process, getting different systems to exchange data and form the cohesive experience for the end user, involves unified APIs. Unified APIs are foundation for achieving their consistency. Speedy and smooth content delivery from server to a television screen, tablet, laptop or smartphone is no longer a cutting-edge experience for the consumer. It's become an expectation. These days, customers expect multi-cloud screen viewing to be simple and smooth. Behind the scenes, an API layer facilitates this seamless exposure of content, delivering it to any device from multiple backend systems. APIs also present a simple, intuitive interface that enables developers to consume their enterprise content and create apps for any device, without having to deal with myriad different languages and protocols. APIs enable what is sometimes referred to as a two-speed IT, which in turn enables companies to maintain the stability of their operational system of record, while fostering the agility and speed necessary to create powerful new applications, services, and experiences. Every digital interaction with your business generates data. When those interactions are powered by API, you have the opportunity to capture and analyze the data in near real time. This in turn provides valuable context about which products and services are being used, which are most popular, and even which path a customer taken to interacting with your content. Let me provide you with Unified API, Apigee and Anthos technical aspects. In the past, APIs were used as a hardwired technology. Systems were coupled, changes in one part of the stack could break functionality elsewhere. The environment simply wasn't built to deliver a connected experience across multiple channels. Modern, well-managed unified APIs, in contrast, enable companies to mask backend complexity behind a predictable, user-friendly interface. These interfaces mean that changes to backend systems will not break or affect apps built on the front end, which in turn enables developers to build those apps with the velocity and flexibility required to meet evolving customer expectations. API management is a well-suited tool to build unified API that is consistent across all the services, regardless of service implementation. Full-cycle API management covers the life of an API from beginning to end. It begins by actively managing the planning stage and doesn't stop until you retire the API. Managing the lifecycle enables you to clarify your API strategy and build more robust API ecosystem. Google's Apigee provides a cross-cloud full-cycle API management platform encompassing hybrid and multi-cloud environments to help accelerate the pace of digital business. Companies want to have the ability to build workload at once, including unified APIs, and run in data center, move it to cloud, or to any other cloud without changing a single line of code. Anthos plus Apigee just might be the perfect toolset to enable a hybrid and multi-cloud strategy. Apigee Hybrid brings the market-leading capabilities of Apigee to customers, along with the flexibility of deploying and managing their runtime. Apigee Hybrid is designed to work with Anthos. Anthos is not simply a product, but rather an umbrella for numerous services to empower app modernization, migration, hybrid and multi-cloud management. The use of Anthos allows for Apigee Hybrid to have several benefits related to better supportability, best breed of technology, and simplified upgrade process. Now we will talk about success story on how SoftServe helps one of our media and telecom customers to implement unified API and user experience. SoftServe was contracted to leverage our expertise to overcome the challenge the customer faced stemming from the strategic initiative to build new direct-to-consumer revenue via transformation websites to brands multi-platform with unified UI and easy-to-use unified APIs. We implemented solution using Google Cloud Apigee, where Apigee is utilized as a strategic unification layer for the backend services. It allows increased integration speed and reduced maintenance costs, while simplifying brands expansion. SoftServe provides full cycle of development, configuration and support of unified API, including management of access and data availability, Apigee Proxy and hosted target development, CI/CD pipeline setup, unit and integration testing automation. Let's talk about solution architecture. SoftServe provided Apigee world-class unified solution. On this diagram, you could see a real cool experience how Apigee allows to expose backend services to the unified UI. Backend service for our customer, for example, it's article, videos, images. Our unified APIs and API management platform enable telecom customers to access their content. We have developed the comprehensive scenario for the demo, so that you, as a technical engineers, can have the chance to see full technical picture based on real-world case. We will show you the Apigee development experience. Alongside, demo will cover API management setup, the life of a unified API, from beginning to end solution, including multi-cloud strategy adoption. Let's discuss our scenario and walk through all exercises. Pay attention to the circle on this slide. This is a company Neram. Neram is mass media conglomerate. It combines multiple brands under one corporate group: UBC, United States Broadcasting Company, and TNS, Television News Service. There are several Neram employees within engineering team. Amy works for telecom as a director, and she is responsible for their unification vision and multi-brand strategy for UBC and TNS. She would like to offer a unified multi-brand front-end solution, which efficiently manages all content from various backend systems via easy-to-use unified API. Iurii works as an API engineer. He needs to design and develop robust, secure, scalable, and unified API solutions that drive business objectives. Bob works as a DevOps engineer and is responsible for the infrastructure. He needs to adopt multi-cloud and hybrid strategy to increase agility and minimize vendor lock-in. I would like to provide some technical background for our demo and exercise. Let's take a look at this diagram. On the left side, there is backend services, articles, and gallery that Iurii as API engineer is responsible for. Thanks to unified API and API management, Iurii will make them available to unified UI. So Amy would be able to offer unified multi-brand front-end solution for UBC and TNS brands. At the bottom, we have several environments that Bob is responsible for: GKE, GKE on-prem, and Kubernetes. This is why we will use Apigee Hybrid plus Anthos. So Bob could adopt multi-cloud and hybrid strategy. Let's walk through the steps. Bob plus Iurii should deploy Apigee Hybrid on GKE with Anthos. As soon as API management is ready, Iurii will build API proxy facade, configure access control to API and data, organize data composition from several backend services. Bob plus Iurii will adopt multi-cloud strategy with Apigee plus Anthos. We are adding Kubernetes and GKE on-prem environments without any changes in code. Finally, we will see overall solution, unified front-end, and trace API calls and environments to make sure Amy, Iurii, and Bob achieve their goals. Let me give you quickly some background about Apigee Hybrid architecture. Before we move to step 1, Apigee Hybrid consists of two main parts: management plane, take a look on the top of the slide, and runtime plane, take a look on the bottom of the slide. A management plane is hosted by Apigee in the cloud and maintained by Google, while a runtime plane is hosted and managed and maintained by customers on their cloud providers or their own data centers. What does the decoupled architecture give customers? It is ability to deploy just gateways as close to workloads as possible. That way latency is no longer an issue. Let's jump to the next screen, where we will deploy Apigee Hybrid to GKE as example, but you could start with the deployment to GKE on-prem or Kubernetes. We will show you Apigee Hybrid installation to GKE, together with Anthos Deployment Hub. There are several prerequisites. Create a cluster in Google Kubernetes Engine GKE, install Anthos Service Mesh on an existing cluster, create GCP service accounts for Apigee Hybrid components, configure DNS, obtain authorized TLS credentials. We are not going to show prerequisites as demo time is limited. Here is integration steps. Provide values for Apigee Hybrid installer settings, install Apigee Hybrid into the Kubernetes cluster, monitor the process of the new deployments. Let's go to the workouts.
We prepared script which help us install Apigee Hybrid on GKE. Let me show you the script that uses Apigee command tool. Our script contains steps. Run init command which installs the Apigee deployment services, checks the status of the deployment, and apply Apigee specific runtime components. Let me show you overrides YAML file that contains settings. The installer uses defaults for many settings. However, there are a few settings that do not have defaults. You must provide values for those settings. Let me start our script. To check the status of the deployment, we use the command kubectl get pods. So you will be able to see status of our pods in the terminal window. If you take a look terminal window, you can see Apigee components deployment status. When the pods are ready, we will refresh the page and look at workloads of Apigee runtime components. If all pod status okay, we successfully install Apigee. So let's refresh the page and take a look status of the pods.
Now we will proceed to step 2. You will learn How to create proxy and begin serving traffic. Here are several steps. Create new API proxy, sample brands if you want. Define base paths and available methods like get brand details by ID. Maintain supported authentication methods for backend services articles. I would like to introduce you to Olena, Apigee certified API engineer within my team, who is going to show you all the development process.
Thank you, Iurii. Let's create a simple Apigee API proxy which will access different brands' articles and images and create mashups using this OpenAPI spec. We'll be using Apigee Hybrid today. So click plus proxy, reverse proxy, enter the name and the base path and the target. Click next, next, and choose an environment to deploy a proxy to. Choose test, create and deploy. You've successfully created your first proxy. Click Edit Proxy. So this is your freshly created Apigee API proxy. You can see your base path here and your target endpoint here. Let's test our proxy by sending a request to it. Open the Trace tab. Select your environment and start a trace session. You will be able to see all requests, response, and flow variables in the trace tool. So as you remember, we have two brands, UBC and TNS. Let's make a request using Postman. So let's type in UBC and make a request. As you can see, our request is successful. Similarly, you can receive an article for TNS. Type in TNS and send the request, and here you are. On the Apigee side, we are able to see that both of our requests are successful, and we're also able to see all flow variables, request and response headers, content changes, other properties on each step of execution. For example, this is the response payload we received from the backend. Well, it's all for now. I'd like to turn it down to Iurii.
Thank you, Olena, for your input. Let's move to step 3. Apigee could verify that consumer provides a valid API key for every proxy. We suggest to enforce verification of API key. Back to you, Olena. Could you show how to secure our proxy?
Thanks, Iurii. Right now, our proxy is not secured. Let's add a simple API key verification to it. Go to the Develop tab. Here you can see request and response flows of your proxy. Apigee flows are sequential stages alongside the API request processing path. You add logic to proxies using policies. A policy is like a module that implements a specific limited management function. Let's add an API key verification policy to the request pre-flow. Click plus step, choose the policy, give it a name, and click Add. As you can see, the policy will search for an API key in the request query parameter called API key. Let's change that to a custom header called XAPI key. Click Save, click Deploy. If we send a request to this proxy right now, we'll receive an unauthorized error. To obtain our API key, we'll need to create an API product with access to this proxy and the corresponding app. So click Publish, API Products, plus API Product, enter a name, and choose an environment to deploy your product to. Set access as public, add your proxy as a resource, and add a path. Click Save. So as you can see, an API product is a collection of APIs available for app developers for consumption. There is only one proxy in this collection. Below, the paths that are allowed for developers to access in this proxy are listed. Also, this proxy will be available for consumption only in the test environment. Let's create a corresponding app now. Click Publish, Apps, click plus App, enter a name, Choose a developer and add your product. Click Create. Once we've created an app, we receive a pair of credentials, an API key and an API secret. An app is an API consumer that has access to one or more API products. As you can see, this app has access only to one product. An app uses credentials to authorize its request to the proxies. In this case, we'll only need the API key. Copy it and paste it in your XAPI key header. Send the request. This time our request is successful. Well, it's all about securing a proxy. I'd like to hand it off to Iurii.
Thank you, Olena, for the information you provided. Let's jump to the step 4. Apigee allows to mash up data. Here is several steps to do as part of this exercise. Let's hear from Olena on how to mash up the responses from different services using Apigee Edge.
So again, let's create a mashup by making another request to the backend and adding an image URL to the response. First, let's add an extract variables policy to parse the brand from the URL. Click plus step, choose your policy, give it a name, click add, change the configuration. So we extract a variable called name from the URL, and the prefix of this variable will be brand. Click Save. Let's now use this variable to make a request to the backend. Click plus step, choose a service cloud policy, give it a name, and set the target. Click Add. So the variable we parsed will be set here. So let's set the accept header to application JSON and the verb to get. The response we receive from the backend will be saved in a variable called image response. Click Save. So now we need to extract the image URL from the response we get and add it to the original response. Typically, you would use extract variables policy and assign message policy together to do that. But today we're using two different payloads and it would be easier to use JavaScript policy instead. Click plus step, choose JavaScript policy, give it a name, choose create new script. Your script is located here in the resources. To extract payload from a variable, you need to add a content suffix to it. So here we retrieve the payload from the original response and the image response. Now we'll create and set a response variable with both the image and the article. So we create a response variable here, and we set it here, together with the content type header. Click Save and deploy. Let's make a request to our new proxy. As you can see, now we receive an article and an image URL. Once you've finished working on your proxy, you can publish it to the developer portal. Click Publish, Portals, plus Portal, enter a name, and click Create. Choose APIs, Get Started, choose your sample product, click Next, select an Open API spec, import from URL, enter the URL, click Select, click Next, finish, go to the live portal. This is how your portal would look like. Choose APIs, choose your product, and here is your spec. You can also try out your proxy here. Of course, you can customize your portal however you like. So that's all for now. I will give the right of speech back to Iurii.
Thank you, Olena, for comprehensive overview. Let's move on to step 5. that walks you through the how to build your first proxy and begin serving traffic. We will show you integration Apigee Hybrid in Kubernetes, AKS, via Anthos Deployment Hub. To early deployed environment to GKE, there are preconditions for this task. Install Apigee Hybrid into the Kubernetes cluster AKS in the same way as GKE. The Apigee Hybrid runtime runs in Kubernetes cluster AKS. Due to limited demo time, we are not going to show all prerequisites. Let's proceed to integration step. Register a non-GKE Kubernetes cluster to GKE Hub. Review GKE and non-GKE clusters and workloads through the GKE Hub. Review workloads running in various locations across all your clusters.
We prepared script which help us to register a remote Kubernetes cluster using GKE Connect. In our script, we create service accounts, install Connect agent on the remote cluster, extract the token from the associated secret. Let's start the script. When our script finishes execution in GCP console, you'll see the remote cluster listed, but you need to log in before it's fully connected. Copy the value of the token return in terminal window, and in GCP console, fill out login to the cluster form. Now you can review the existing clusters in GCP console and existing workloads. Observe that workloads from the both clusters are shown. This is GKE Connect agent that allow connect remote clusters.
We will show you Anthos dashboards to manage your Anthos hybrid environments. Here is a list of boards: cluster management view, service mesh dashboard, service topology graph, metric chart, and some others. Let me introduce you to Alexander, our Apigee engineer, who is knowledgeable in both Apigee Hybrid and Anthos.
Thank you, Iurii. Hello, everyone. I want to show you Anthos dashboard. The Anthos dashboard in the Google Cloud Console provides you with secure, unified user interface to view and manage your application, including an out-of-the-box structured view of all your Anthos services. For example, Anthos Cluster Management view provides a secure console to view the state of all your registered clusters and create new clusters for your project. You add cluster to this view by registering them with GKE Hub to your Anthos environment. As you can see, we have two clusters and one of them external, which is deployed in Azure and connected by GKE Hub. Let's talk about Anthos Service Mesh. Anthos Service Mesh provide observability into health and performance of your services. Anthos Service Mesh automatically upload metrics and logs to cloud monitoring and cloud logging for all traffic within your clusters. This detailed telemetry enables operators to observe services behavior and empower them to troubleshoot, maintain, and optimize their application. On Service Mesh dashboard, you can, for example, get an overview of all services in your mesh, providing critical service level metrics on 4 golden signals of monitoring: latency, traffic, errors. And you can explore a service topology graph visualization that shows your mesh service and their relationship. In this topology, you can see our front end, back end services which are deployed in cluster, traffic on them, and more and more. And you can view metrics chart and individual services. For example, choose one of our service articles service, and we can deeply analyze them with filtering, breakdowns, including by response count, protocol, destination pods, traffic source, and more and more. We can define review and set alerts. Again, service level objectives, which summaries your services user visibility performance. Or we can get detailed information about the endpoints for each service and see how traffic flow between services and what performance look like for each communication ads. So that's all for now. Iurii?
Thank you, Alexander, for this comprehensive overview. As final step, I suggest to take a look overall flow diagram and trace final solution based on this flow. This overall flow diagram provides the way user interact with Unified UI and how Apigee make calls. Let's walk through the overall flow. User opens brand page via browser. Then Unified UI sends get brand info RESTful request to Apigee. Afterwards, Apigee calls backend services, articles and images. Apigee Mashup responses and provide combined response to the Unified UI. It is simple as that. If I were API, UI or DevOps engineer, I would like to see all-in-one solution. I am going to go over the final solution demo. In this part, we are going to cover full solution, including infrastructure as well as trace API proxies and Unified UI. Let's walk through the steps. Explore infrastructure, front-end and back-end via Anthos topology. Open the demo pages in Chrome. Start a trace session for API proxy. Inspect network activity. Read an API proxy trace via Apigee trace tool.
Let me remind you our infrastructure. We have Azure cluster and we have GKE cluster. There are several workloads deployed to that cluster. Unified UI with A and B version for the A and B testing, and several backend services. Article service with version 1 and version 2, and image service with version 1 and version 2. All of them connected to the Istio Ingress gateway. We have Unified UI that handle two brands, UBC and TNS. For the UBC brand, you could see article and image. Now you could see TNS brand with its own article and image. Information comes from the proxy that we created earlier, brands v1. It accepts TNS and UBC brands. Let's go to the trace session for this proxy. Click test environment and start trace session. Now come back to the UI, open DevTools, go to the network tab, and reload the page. As you could see, request sent to the v1 brands proxy. Let's take a look, response. You could see article and you could see image on the page as well. Let's take a look our trace tool. Here is response for our Unified API. Let's come back to the Unified UI and type UBC brand. We could see the request sent to the v1 brands proxy. Now we could see response for the article and image. Here is response for this brand.
Let's take a look at achieved goals for the Iurii, Bob, and Amy. Iurii protected backend services, combined response from several data sources, built secure unified APIs. Bob adopted hybrid and multi-cloud strategy. Amy got access to data in easy to consume and unified format. We could say all of our guys reached their final destination as a result of our workouts and demo sessions. Again, my name is Iurii, and I will be happy to connect with any of you regarding how to unify API and user experience. Please feel free to reach out to Amy, our Cloud Partnership Director, or I directly. Thank you very much for attending today's webinar. Have a good day.